In this demo, we'll be scanning in a Kubernetes cluster that is running Velero, so we can get a first-hand look at the integration that CloudCasa has with Velero. So most of you watching this video may already have a cluster that is already doing backups with Velero currently, and that is exactly what we have here. So if you're curious about deploying Velero itself, we're doing a multi-part webinar series on general topics surrounding Velero and data protection of Kubernetes, but you can view part one of this webinar series from our website, which covers getting started with Velero from our chief architect, Raghu Devarakonda. And it goes over from the ground up how you would go about deploying and installing Velero and configuring it to start and run backup. So I recommend that you check out this video if you're more curious on that topic. But here in my demo setup, what I have here is my cluster. As you can see, it already has Velero installed in this Velero namespace. I've already got my backup storage location specified, and I've configured and run some backups going to that backup storage location. So because Velero is already configured in my enterprise, all I would need to do is install the CloudCasa agent so that it can communicate with the Velero service that I have installed to this cluster. So we'll install the agent as we normally would, and that is through the CloudCasa dashboard. Under the configuration tab, you can go into clusters here, and then on the right-hand side, you can specify add cluster. And the key difference here is you're going to see a slider bar to manage an existing Velero instance that will toggle on. So what I'll do is I'll give my cluster name and just slide that bar over. And by sliding the bar over, the CloudCasa agent that gets deployed will be managing and monitoring Velero custom resources on this cluster. So I'll go ahead and click register here, and then I can copy the installation kubectl apply declarative statement listed here and paste this into my console to install the agent. So we'll just give it a few minutes for the agent to get deployed. And we can see that our kube agent is now within a running state listed here. So once deployed, I'll see my cluster also move into an active state. So let me close this window, click save. And now that my cluster is in an active state, you'll also note a Velero icon that is next to the cluster name to help distinguish this cluster from other cluster types defined within CloudCasa. Once the agent goes active, CloudCasa is going to immediately begin to inventory all the Velero custom resources for the Velero jobs that I previously ran from the command prompt. So I can see those jobs now appearing within my activity console. And these jobs should match the jobs that are defined in my Velero backup instance. As you can see here. So the start times and the job names should all correspond to one another within the GUI, but you're also getting a 10,000-foot view of the health of your enterprise. So I can see the Velero backup jobs that had scanned in over the last 24 hours or 7 days, whatever window I'm defining here that I want to view. I can also see the health of the clusters that I have scanned in and am monitoring. So right now I have that one Velero cluster scanned in at 100% health, and that cluster has one worker node, but with CloudCasa for Velero, you're able to scan in multiple clusters up to 15 worker nodes for free with our freemium license with CloudCasa for Velero Plus. So now if I want to drill down into the cluster that I had scanned in to get a better overview, I can just click on the link directly from the GUI, and I can see here the cluster metrics over the last 7 days, or I can define a window listed here, as well as all the jobs that were scanned in and brought into the CloudCasa dashboard UI. If I click on recovery points here, I can take a look at some of the different types of recovery points that I have out there and where they're located in relation to the backup storage location that I configured with my cluster. So here we're going to see a listing of snapshot backups that I performed of the custom resources from the cluster, as well as copy job operations from which I moved persistent volume data through Restic or Copia to my backup storage location listed here. Now, any new job instance that I trigger from Velero will automatically be picked up from CloudCasa as well. So if I jump back to my console window here, and I can just create a backup. So I'll create a new backup, specify the storage location as I would for a Velero command line operation, and I'll just increment, since I don't have a backup 7 already, I'll just increment the counter here to make a Velero backup 7, and you can automatically see that that job has made it into the CloudCasa UI real time. I can drill down into that backup job and take a look at the activity logs to see exactly what is going on with that backup while it's running. So we'll leave this job running, but for an already completed job here, if I drill down into that job, what I can do is check out the activity log, the what happened during the backup, as well as download log files directly from the CloudCasa for Velero UI and save this to my desktop. So in its most basic form, think of CloudCasa for Velero as simply a GUI for Velero, and that it's able to aggregate data across multiple Kubernetes clusters. So if you're already a Velero user today and maybe looking for an intuitive user interface, please come check out CloudCasa for Velero for managing your multi-cluster environment. And while you're there, you can also check out some of the other backup and restore capabilities that can enhance your Velero experience, including creating backup and restore jobs, running backups, and using our full stack recovery functionality directly through the UI.